So, all right. I am on page 238, if anyone is following along. If you are following along. So, here's what I have. It says there on page 238, if you look, you don't have to, but if you're on that page, it says we're doing complex fractions. And I think we've done some of these before, but maybe not. Complex fractions, look up here. It's a big fraction that has numerator, denominator, and one or both of those, numerator and denominator, have a fraction in them. That's what a complex fraction is. It's a fraction that has either fractions in the numerator or fractions in the denominator, or both. So we have to simplify. The directions say to simplify that. Did you know the fraction line could be considered a grouping symbol? Did you know that? So here's what we have to do. We're going to do the numerator. You can combine those, right? And we're going to simplify the denominator. And then we're going to put back in what we got for our answers. And then we're going to simplify the big fraction. So grouping symbol, that fraction line is a grouping symbol. We're going to do the top part, we're going to do the bottom part, and then we'll worry about the whole thing. So on top I have 7/12 and 1/6. Common denominator, 12ths and 6ths. Right, and the first one already is 12ths. The 6th, the 1/6, if we multiply by what, John? By 2. So by 2 on top, 2/12. So if I put that in there, 1/6 is 2/12. Work that out. 7/12 take away 2/12. Isn't that 5/12? Yeah, now we have to do the bottom part. Common denominator, 9. That one already has a 9. I have 2/1. What is it? Times 2. Times 2? Who said times 2? Oh, I think it was me, sorry. So 1 times 9 is 9. So we have to multiply the top by 9, and we'll listen to her over there. 18/9. So instead of 2/1, 2/1 is equivalent to 22/9. And I wouldn't even bother simplifying that. Just leave it. So combine the numerator, get it all to be one thing. Combine the denominator, get it to be one thing. And now, what does this line mean? So really, isn't this 5/12 divided by, yes? What do you do when you divide fractions? Multiply by the reciprocal of the second one. And I don't think you can do much, but these two are both divisible by 3. 3 goes in there 3 times, 3 goes in there 4 times. Anything else? I don't think. So 5 times 3 is 4 times 22. And I don't think you can simplify that. That seems like a weird answer. Did I copy it wrong? No, that is the answer. Does that make sense? So, do you have questions on that one? So now to the algebra, we're going to do it with letters. Yay! Woohoo! Oh, it's going to be easy, John. So simplify that one. And again, we're going to get the numerator all together in one. We're going to get the denominator all together in one. And then we'll worry about the dividing at the end. So I'll put a 1 under there. What's the common denominator going to be? I've got a 1 and a z. What's it going to be? Minus. Minus. So my common denominator is going to be z. What did I multiply by here? So what do I multiply by on top? Is that going to be a z squared? I think it is going to be a z squared. So on top, this first thing is a z squared over z. Right? Wouldn't that be z squared minus 1 over z? Now we need to do the same thing to the denominator. What's the common denominator going to be? Times? So we have to multiply. So that's going to be z over z. You probably didn't need to do this. If it's 1 over 1, then you know it's probably going to be z over z. So that, z minus 1 over z. Good so far? It's just two common denominator problems. And now it's a divide problem. So it's z squared minus 1 over z divided by z minus 1 over. It's the top thing divided by the bottom thing. How do you divide fractions? Multiply by the reciprocal. So z squared minus 1 over z times, flip that, now what? Cancel? I can cross cancel, she says. Those for sure. She says factor this, right? This z squared minus 1, factor, what does it factor into? Right, z minus 1, z plus 1. That's this. So now what can you do with these? This, this, and what do you get? Just a z plus 1. All that work just for that one answer, z plus 1. And you know what always amazes me? Look at this. Look at this thing that we started with. Would you ever think that would end up being z plus 1? You would? I wouldn't. And by the way, well, I can just do the work in my head. No, 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 no. No, no. Maybe. Does that make sense? So it's really just, all of these are really just common denominator problems. And then after that, it's a dividing fractions problem, which is multiplied by the reciprocal. But in order to do that, then you got to factor. That's the reason we're not having a cumulative exam. Because really, it is cumulative, isn't it?
Yeah.
Think about all you need to know how to do to get the answer to this problem. Right? Questions so far? I got one more just because it's weird. So this one, there's a little trick to it. And if you don't do the little trick, you get it wrong. Oops, this should be a 2. Here's the little trick. I wish I could find, this is one of the things that I don't really have a good way to explain what to do, why to do it. I can tell you what to do, but I don't have a good way to explain why. See this numerator? I want you to forget about this. Yep. What is a to the negative 1? What did we learn about negative exponents?
Goes on the bottom.
Goes on the bottom. So here's how you need to write it. You need to write it as 1 over a. And same thing with this x to the negative 1. You need to write it as 1 over x. And really, that's still the numerator of your fraction. I don't want you to move it down to the bottom of this thing. I want you to leave it as a separate numerator and denominator and leave it in the top as 1 over a. Because I said so? Is that a good enough reason? And same thing, that denominator was this. Same thing applies. I want you to forget about the top. This is 1 over a squared. And that 1 over x squared. Once you have it written like that, the rest of it is just like what we were doing 2 seconds ago. In the top, you need a common denominator. What's your common denominator going to be? AX. It's got to have 1 of each. What do you multiply by? Oops, what am I doing? Is that going to be an x up there? So this first thing is going to be x over ax minus, remember our denominator? Ax. So 1 over x, and I need ax by a times by a. So that one is going to be a over ax. Oh, we can still see. So in my top, I believe that's going to be x minus a over ax. Is that what you think? Common denominator problem. Same thing in the denominator. What's your common denominator for these going to be? And be honest with me, how many of you are just going to go like this?
Yeah.
I know. So x squared over a squared x squared. Same thing with this one. So a squared. I like to write it in alphabetical order though, if that's all right. So on bottom, that's just going to be x squared minus a squared. So we did our 2 common denominator problems and got it together. Now it's the divide thing. What does this big fraction line mean? So I have x minus a, there's the top thing, divided by that thing, right? And you know how to divide fractions. You leave the first thing alone over ax, and you multiply by Flip it. Same, right? What can you do?
Now you can cross A and
An A here and an X. This AX with this one A and one X. What can you do to this?
factor X minus
Factor it.
X
X, A signs.
plus minus
So X minus A, X minus A. So it looks like, remember we factored this, so that's not there. The only thing left in the top is AX, and on bottom, X plus A. Well, isn't that something? It's a lot of stuff, it's a lot of steps, but I think they're all steps you already know how to do, right? Just a bunch of stuff all together that you already know how to do. You already know how to do it, right, birthday boy?
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kobe. Happy birthday to you. You're welcome. Oh, thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you. The singing or me? Oh, good answer, good answer. Especially a week before I'm giving you a grade, you know. Now John's jealous because I didn't sing him happy birthday on his birthday.
That's not very cool.
Oh, we'll have to remember. April. Now, are you going to sing happy birthday to me on my birthday?
We're not gonna be here.
Well, that's okay. You can either sing it next week or you can
I'll
sing
send
it
you a video.
when we get back. Okay.
Just me singing.
Okay.
Right.
Sounds good. Do you have any questions on this stuff? And if you come up with a good way of why this, it's 1 over A and it's 1 over X, don't move it to the bottom of this whole fraction. Same thing here. Don't move it to the top. Pretend the top isn't there. 1 over A squared, 1 over X squared. And it has something to do with if you move, it's supposed to go with both of these, and if you move it down, it doesn't anymore. I don't know. I can't come up with a good reason, so. Do you have questions?
No.
Oh my, where are we? Page 239. They told me in Algebra 1 I assigned too much work today.
They did it.
Yes.
If I was the teacher and I said that, I would
Two-
give them more.
You wouldn't give them any homework?
I said I would have given them more.
More?
Yeah.
Okay, John, I'll give you a whole bunch.
No, please don't.
How about, that still won't even be 10, but they take a while. There's a lot of steps in here. Here's what I'm going to do. Page 240. Page 240, hopefully that's the right page. We're going to go 1 to 17, the odds. Am I on the wrong page? Oh, 239 to 240, thank you. Page 239 to 240, thank you. And then if you finish by chance, over there you can start working on some of those example problems, review problems. Test for you next Thursday, right? Your group B, Thursday. Oh yeah, you are Group A. Group A goes on
We're still on
Thursday. Oh, I was looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, Thursday. You know what end is up?